Hey everyone, it's CL, and in today's video I'm going to be covering the questions that people ask that confuse me, and I think it's a good way for you all to kind of get to know my personality a little bit more and to get to know me a little bit better, get a different angle of who I am. And I do apologize if there is some background noise. Hopefully you can still hear me. The one time I remember to turn off my AC before I start filming, there's now a truck outside that decides it wants to make a lot of noise, and it doesn't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon. So during the editing process, I will try to filter that out, and hopefully you won't hear it so much. But if you do, I do apologize, but we're not going to let it stop us. We're going to keep on going, keep on filming this video. So let's go ahead and get right into the questions that people ask that confuse me. And the question that really baffles me the most is when people ask, where are you from? Now, the reason why it confuses me is because, first of all, I don't know why people aren't direct in their questions, right? If you have a question, let's not dance around the topic at hand. Ask your question so I can give you a proper answer. Now, when you leave it so vague, like, where are you from? Like, I don't know what you're asking me. Are you asking me my ethnicity? Are you asking me where I was born? Are you asking me where I have lived? Are you asking me where I just moved from or where I'm currently living? The answers to all those questions have a different answer. So if you're someone that wants to know, like, someone's ethnicity or where they were born, be very specific in your question. Like, don't leave it so vague and just be like, well, where are you from? You know, be specific. It's not offensive to ask someone where they were born, what's your ethnicity. It's just a curious question, right? If you're curious, then ask your question. There's no harm in being curious. So the next question that confuses me, more so because this is a handicap of mine, okay? This is a weakness in my skill set, is when people ask me for directions, I'm already so confused because I'm like the worst person to ask directions from. I get lost so easily and turned around, disoriented so easily when it comes to like knowing where I'm going. Like, when I leave the house, I really have to leave. If it's somewhere new I'm going, I have to go in with a plan. Coupled with my anxiety, I have to like look at a map, see where I'm going, get the general area, like, oh, okay, this is the direction I need to be in. I just don't leave and just try to figure it out. Like, I need to come up with a plan. I need to study very briefly my map. And then I'm off on my way. But this happens more often than I would like, is that when people ask me for directions, and it's not that I don't want to be helpful. If I know the answer, I definitely want to be helpful, but I don't want to give you the wrong answer. And people always approach me, like, it can be a crowded subway and someone will come up to me specifically and ask me directions. I'm like, oh, of all people, you pick like the wrong person. Especially because I don't give good directions either. Like, I know how to get places through little landmarks that I make myself. Like, oh, I know to get here, it's by the Panda Express. Even when I just moved to my new place, like, I think it was like the second or third day I was here, I was walking back from Bed Bath & Beyond, and I was nearly home, someone seen my bags and asked me, oh, where is Bed Bath & Beyond? How do I get there? And I was able to give them directions, but it wasn't like specific directions. It was more so like, oh, do you see that corner right there? You're gonna turn right at that corner, keep going down, and you're gonna see it on your left side. Like, I didn't give any street names. I didn't give her like the cross section of where this Bed Bath & Beyond is. I just told her what directions to go in, because that's the best way I can give directions, just because that's how I remember things. And I know that is a weakness in my skill set, that I get so turned around, but at the same time, why aren't people using their map? If you want to know where something is, I mean, I think we all by this point have a smartphone. You can just type it in, study your map, and get where you need to go. But, and like I said, I'm the worst person to ask for directions to. And this happens more so than I would like, that people not only are asking for directions, they're asking very specifically for a certain place. So when I lived at my old place, I was walking down the sidewalk and someone had pulled over, and I knew immediately that they were going to ask for directions. I can like feel it in the air or see it in their eyes. I can just feel it. Someone pulled over, and if they ask me something, I can give them the general area of where things are. But they were so specific in their question. They were like, can you tell me where Dr. Hernandez's office is? And in my mind, I'm like, well, I've never been to Dr. Hernandez. I don't know who that is. I've never come across an office building with that name on it. Like, I was not able to help this person. I tried to like get more information from her. I'm like, do you know the general area? What can I do to help you? Because clearly I don't know where that office is. So not able to help you there, ma'am. So the next question that confuses me, and it's more so because of my personal preference, and that is when people come over and they ask me whether or not they should take off their shoes. Now, just throwing out this rule of thumb to everyone. If there are shoes by the door, then take off your shoes. Just be polite and take off your shoes. But if someone comes in and they're asking me like, oh, should I take off my shoes off, or do I have to take off my shoes? Of course I'm gonna say no, you can leave your shoes on or do whatever you want to be polite, you know. I want to be a good host. I don't want to force anybody to do something they don't want to do, even though it is my home. I want to be a polite host. But internally I'm like, yeah, take off your shoes, because I don't know where those shoes have been, what sort of germs you're tracking in here. I don't like that. I would prefer for you to take off your shoes. And for me, I'm sure there's a lot of reasons why people take their shoes off before they enter their home, but for me, it's a germ thing. Like, I don't like those types of germs in my home. I have come to terms with, if it's on like tile or linoleum, I'm okay with that, because I know once you leave, I can easily just get like the Swiffer sweeper thingy and just like clean it up, get those germs out of here. But I particularly do not like when people wear their shoes on the carpet, because carpet is a lot harder to clean. You just can't like vacuum it up and then everything will be fine. And the reason why I'm so picky about this is because I like to walk barefoot in my home. I like to lay on the floor. My kid and I like to lay on the floor and like watch TV or do our arts and crafts on the floor. We're always on the floor. So when people ask me whether or not they should take off their shoes before entering the home, my home, I want to say yes, but I always end up saying no to be polite. But now I think that what confuses me as well is like, should I be more assertive and be like, yeah, take off your shoes? I was actually watching the Wendy Williams show, and she was talking about how years ago she went to some celebrity's house, and the person made all of the guests, all these pop celebrity guests, put little like surgical foot coverings over their shoes, because he didn't want their shoes in the house. And Wendy Williams was saying how at first she thought that was really weird, but now years later she actually does that too, because she doesn't want all those germs in the home. So I think that's just like a personal preference. You might care, you might not care. I personally care because I don't like those sorts of germs. So yeah. So the last two questions are kind of questions I feel that sometimes people are thinking, and then in turn I ask myself the question, and maybe it'll make more sense once I throw these out there. So one of the questions that I kind of wonder if people think this of me is, am I a negative person? So maybe sometimes, or a lot of times, I can project like negative speak, negative talk in a sense. And outwardly I might seem like a negative person or like a pessimistic person, but honestly I want to say I'm a positive person overall. I'm positive, and I always try to search for the bright side of things. I do have my slump moments where I do really feel negative, but I don't think overall that I'm a negative person. But I think that sometimes I portray myself that way outwardly, and people might think that I'm negative. But for myself, I see that more as, sometimes I say things, just saying it out loud, because it makes me feel better, in the sense like venting. Like, it feels good when you vent your frustrations, but it doesn't really mean that you're so angry at the world. So I guess that's what confuses me. Like, am I portraying that I'm a negative person all the time? If I do, I apologize. I can't really say much. I can be like, trust me, I'm not negative, but you know. Nobody really knows whether or not that's true unless you're inside here, right? So that is one thing I struggle with, is like, am I negative? I don't think so, but maybe other people think so. So yeah, to this day, that question still confuses me and will probably still continue to confuse me. So maybe it's a matter of that I need to do more self-reflecting so I can portray what's on the inside, on the outside as well. Maybe. Now the last one is one where I wholeheartedly wonder if people think this of me or wonder this about me. I even ask myself the same question, and that question is, am I cheap? Am I a cheap person? The reason why I say that is that sometimes when I'm editing my videos, I notice that I talk about like money a lot. Not a lot, but it's just in my vocabulary, that if I get something on sale, I mention that it was on sale, or I mention that I got a good deal. Like, it's so second nature for me to throw that out there because I just think it's like, oh, how neat is this? I got this on sale and I want to share it with everyone. But then I was even thinking about it more so, is that like I have caught my friend came out here to visit me from California, and we were shopping at Macy's, and we were going around and I found like a really cute top, and I was like, oh, I really like this. And then she was like, if you like it, you should get it. And I was like, yeah. And then I looked at the price and I was like, oh, $130. I don't like it that much. And I put it back down, and I just so happened to look up and I seen my friend like roll her eyes, be like, oh gosh, if you like it, you should get it. And that's that. And then inwardly I'm like, why would I spend $130 on one shirt when I can get like 3 shirts for that same amount? And then I start to do the math in my head. If I spend $130 on one shirt, how often am I gonna wear it? Can I wash it in my own washer and dryer, or do I have to have it dry clean? Like, I start doing the math and really thinking about making this purchase, and then I kind of wonder, is that because like I'm cheap? Do only cheap people do that? I don't think that it's like a cheap thing to do. I think it's like being financially responsible, but I can't tell. And I don't know if it's like an Asian thing, that you don't want to pay full price for something because you know that you can get a better deal when it goes on sale or clearance, or that your money could go further if you don't buy this one expensive item, that you can purchase these other items instead. Or I don't know if it's like a growing up poor thing, that I'm always like money conscious, in a sense that I don't want to waste money too frivolously. And I don't know if it's because of like my day job, because my day job is to handle money. I make sure that we are within budget. I make sure that the funds that are going out, which is a lot of money, is what should go out, no more, no less. And I make sure that all the numbers add up, that it's all documented, and that when the auditors come in, that they don't find anything. Like, my day job is to be very money conscious. And I don't know if that translates into like, do I do these things because I'm cheap? Like, why didn't I splurge on that $130 top? Do I do that all the time? Do I put things down that I really want because I'm a cheap person? I don't think so. I think I'm being like financially responsible, and it's not like I don't indulge in things. I definitely indulge in things. I indulge in food all the time. I will indulge once in a while in an expensive clothing item. It's not like I've never purchased like $100 something on one thing, but I make sure that it's something that I'm going to wear all the time, that is really good quality, and that is long lasting. And maybe that puts people off. Maybe that is portrayed as me being cheap. I don't know. I don't know the answer. So those are the questions that confuse me. I hope that gives you a little insight of who I am, and a different side of my personality. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. Are these questions that you also come across that confuse you? What are some questions that confuse you that you have encountered and wonder about yourself? But other than that, thank you for watching, and I will see you later.